Now, interlocking triangles are really quite fascinating. Let me give you a little bit of basic information that kind of encapsulates some things I've already said, and then move into it because the emotional how triangles interlock explains so much about what we see in our families and in our culture. Now, remember, triangles are the smallest building block of any emotional system. And a two-person system is stable as long as anxiety is low. But when it rises, one of those two of that original dyad, that those two in relationship are referred to as a dyad, when anxiety rises, one of them will automatically draw in a third, and then you have the establishment of a triangle. Now, although the triangling process in families always shifts, it also involves patterns that repeat over time, in which people often come to have fixed positions in relation to each other. Now, predictably, triangles have two close individuals in what is called or referred to as the inside positions, and one that is on the outside position. So in anxious systems, the preferred position is on the outside. And when anxiety is low, the preferred position then, you guessed it, is on the inside. That is the kind of the togetherness positions. Now, when the emotional process cannot be contained within a triangle, interlocking triangles are formed within and across multiple families in the larger multi-generational system. So, different emotional triangles can share sides. Now, these are called interlocking triangles. These interlocking triangles can form vast structures in society, in our families, in institutions, and other relations. So, any relationship system can contain vast structures of interlocking triangles. Uh, Edwin Friedman says this, quote, "The side that is shared by two triangles is the key to the transmission of emotional processes from one triangle to another triangle." Now, and what's fascinating about interlocking triangles is that triangles can be with the past. Now, so for example, the way that parents relate to certain aspects of our behavior can shape the way we relate to our children's behavior. We might need to revisit the old triangle in order to address the problems that have surfaced in the new triangle. Interlocking triangles then can be intergenerational or multi-generational. I hope that makes sense. One of the things that systems theory, systems relating, kind of hones in on is that you are always a child of your parents. It's not some past reality. It is a present reality, even if those parents are gone. You're still that, and that still impacts your functioning in the relationship systems that you're a part of today. Um, and if you're having issues in your immediate, it might be that you've got family work to do. It might mean that you have some differentiating that needs to take place with or in old triangles. One example that Friedman offers is that interlocking triangles are especially obvious in blended families. He says this, quote, "The guaranteed way to break up the marriage, a blended family marriage, is for either partner to try to rearrange the partner's established relationships with his or her children." So this is interlocking emotional triangles are really quite profound as you start paying attention to them. And what's really amazing is that interlocking triangles actually can shift anxiety far away from the original anxious diet. Think about, remember we had the mother and the father. That's where the anxiety began. They triangulate in a child. That child could triangulate in a sibling or someone outside that system, or grandma or grandpa or an uncle or aunt. And then that anxiety builds, and that one of them triangles in somewhere. I mean, it can pass far away from the original diet. It's one of the remember, anxiety always looks for a place to land. It can shift far away from the original anxious dyad to the most vulnerable person in the system. And depending on how many interlocking triangles there are, that vulnerable person can be maybe this person is way over here and symptoms begin to surface, and it may be tied to interlocking triangles in an extended family network. Or think about how some maybe it's stuff that you bring to work that's happening in your families, and you triangulate someone else in work, but they've got their own stuff, and then that person triangulates someone. You could have something going on in your extended family system tied to your mom and dad from years ago that's affecting someone in your work system. Here's a fundamental truth, though. The discomfort will not disappear in the system because the anxiety in the original diet, although covered over, has not been alleviated. So, a 3-person system is a triangle. A 4-person system is basically 4 primary triangles. A 5-person system is 9 primary triangles, and it just multiplies as the system gets larger. Interlocking triangles always exist when there are more than 3 members in an emotional system. All right, that's enough on interlocking triangles. There could be a great deal more to get into, but I think for now that will be enough. Thank you so much.